A quiet morning on the open ocean. The waves were calm, the skies were clear, and the massive silhouette of a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier cut through the water like a floating city. To the untrained eye, everything looked peaceful. But beneath the surface of that calm, tensions were building. Far on the horizon, radar picked up something unusual, a small, fast, moving vessel racing straight toward the carrier group. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than a fishing boat. But its speed, its route, and the lack of any identification signals quickly raised alarms. This was no ordinary boat. It was a cartel vessel, the kind used by drug trafficking organizations to move tons of narcotics across the ocean. And for reasons unknown, it was heading directly toward one of the most powerful war machines on the planet. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, an aircraft carrier isn't just a ship. It's a floating airbase carrying dozens of fighter jets, helicopters, advanced radar, and a crew of over 50 sailors, and it never travels alone. Carriers are always protected by a strike group, destroyers, cruisers, submarines, and support ships that form a moving fortress at sea. Getting too close to a U.S. aircraft carrier is like walking into the middle of a military base uninvited. It's not just dangerous, it's practically suicidal. The cartel boat kept moving, ignoring radio warnings, ignoring signals, and refusing to change course. On board the carrier, the alert level was raised. Deck crews scrambled into position. Marines prepared their weapons. And the bridge officers had a difficult decision to make. Was this just a reckless smuggler? Or was it something far more dangerous, maybe even a terrorist threat disguised as a fishing boat? Because here's the thing, small boats have been used before to launch devastating attacks. The USS Cole, a Navy destroyer, was bombed in 2000 by terrorists using a small boat packed with explosives. 17 American sailors lost their lives that day. Ever since then, the U.S. Navy has treated unidentified vessels as serious threats. As the cartel boat closed the distance, Navy helicopters lifted off from the carrier deck. Their rotors thundered through the air as they circled the suspicious craft, sending a clear warning. Turn around now or face the consequences. But the boat kept charging forward, dangerously close to the defensive perimeter. From the deck of the destroyer escorting the carrier, sailors aimed their .50 caliber machine guns, tracking the vessel's every move. Through binoculars, they could see men on board nervous, frantic, and possibly armed. The Navy broadcast another warning. This is the United States Navy. You are approaching a restricted military zone. Turn around immediately or you will be fired upon. Still, no response. By this point, the carrier group had shifted into full defense mode. Every second counted. If the boat was carrying explosives, even a small blast could cause catastrophic damage if it got close enough. Remember, an aircraft carrier is huge, but it's not invincible. The Navy could not take that chance. The helicopters swooped lower, and warning shots cracked across the water loud enough for anyone on that boat to hear the message loud and clear. Finally, the cartel boat hesitated. The crew on board began waving frantically, throwing objects into the ocean. Through the helicopter's cameras, it became obvious what they were dumping. Wrapped packages, almost certainly drugs. That's when it all made sense. The boat hadn't been on a suicide mission. It wasn't terrorism, it was desperation. The smugglers had taken the wrong route, wandered into the wrong waters, and suddenly found themselves staring down the might of the U.S. Navy. To them, the only chance of survival was to dump the evidence and hope the Navy would let them go. But the Navy doesn't let things slide. Within minutes, a small team of Fastris, Bont's craft rigid, hull inflatable boats armed with Navy security teams sped across the waves and surrounded the smugglers. They had nowhere left to run. The men on board were taken into custody, the boat seized, and the packages floating in the water were collected as evidence. Later analysis confirmed it. The cartel vessel had been carrying thousands of pounds of narcotics, worth millions of dollars on the street. What they hadn't expected was to sail directly into the path of a U.S. aircraft carrier. For the sailors aboard the carrier, it was just another day in the world's most dangerous waters. A reminder that threats can come from anywhere, not just rival militaries, but criminal organizations willing to risk everything for profit. For the smugglers, it was the end of the line, outmatched, outgunned, and outsmarted by the sheer power of the U.S. Navy, and for everyone else, it was proof of just how quickly calm seas can turn into high-stakes confrontations. One moment, a quiet ocean; the next, helicopters in the air, guns trained on a speeding boat, and a carrier strike group ready for war. In the end, the cartel boat never stood a chance against a U.S. aircraft carrier. No one ever does.